Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of the reasons why on Friday I say, there's only 2 more work days until Monday. The reason we're holding this meeting with the press today is an event occurred early this morning that is absolutely unacceptable in Polk County. We're just not going to have it. And as a result, we want to bring this to the community's attention so that there is help from the community members as we move forward to finish solving this case. Polk County is one of the safest counties in the United States to live. However, just before about 1:13 this morning, we know that a group of young men, kids, left the bowling alley in a Camry. The young man that was driving, who owned the Camry, was 26 years of age. He was a black male. We're not listing his name because at this point in time we don't know exactly who the victims and who the suspects are. There was 3 other young men with him, a black male 20 years of age, a black male 17 years of age, and a Hispanic male 17 years of age. They left and they were driving their car toward Martin Luther King Boulevard, just on the outskirts of Winter Haven, when a dark-colored vehicle pulled up, had been following them, and they were going north on Buckeye Loop, and it loops around into Martin Luther King. When they went from north on Buckeye Loop to westbound on Martin Luther King, the dark-colored vehicle with at least 2 black males in it, and certainly there may have been more, pulled up beside the Camry, and they had a running gun battle, a shootout. That's right. Here are the bullet holes in the Camry. And here's a close-up. And if you look very close, you'll see some of these bullets are entrance holes into this vehicle. Some are exit holes from the vehicle. So the suspects were shooting back and forth at each other. So let me break this down further. After a shootout, which is witnessed by some friends of the young men in the Toyota, from a distance, they see the Toyota kind of ease over to the side of the road. And what we find is not good. What we found was a 20-year-old young man, still a kid, is dead. He was shot 8 times. Did you hear what I said? He was shot 8 times. The other 3 in the car are in critical condition. The 26-year-old was shot 8 times. The 17-year-old black male was shot 2 times. The Hispanic male was shot between 7 and 8 times. The right front passenger, who was only 20, that's deceased, when immediately, because we were in the area along with our colleagues from Winter Haven Police Department. It occurred in the unincorporated area, but we received a remarkable amount of assistance from the Winter Haven Police Department. They got to the Camry first. And our deceased had an AR strapped around him. He also had a gun in his waist. You know, you've heard the old saying, if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. This 20-year-old young man, really a kid, was living with a gun and he died with it because of a gun. There was a shootout. So, are the suspects in the black car or the dark colored car? Are the suspects in the Camry? We don't know who's suspects and who's victims at this time. But we do know that the dark colored car continued to flee west on Martin Luther King, pulled up to the Winter Haven Hospital, and dropped off a person who was shot as well. He was only 21 years of age, a young black male, 21 years of age. And then the dark-colored vehicle with the driver fled from the scene. So what we're looking for today is a dark-colored sedan, smaller size sedan, with bullet holes. We have the Camry. We have the 4 that were shot up significantly bad. None of this should happen. Young men aren't supposed to die and get shot up by other young men. And we're absolutely unequivocally going to investigate this and hold the people that are responsible for this shooting accountable. That's a guarantee. But we need the community's help. Now, we're going to solve this with or without the community. But I want you to know this, that there's a lot of money available through Crime Stoppers. If you give us information, and you don't even have to give us your name, we'll never know who you are. Crime Stoppers is not run by the Sheriff's Office. It's a private entity. And we'll be able to receive information, and you'll stay anonymous. We do know this, that one of the 17-year-old's parents refused to cooperate. That's a good way to teach your children. If you're truly, your child's a victim, why aren't you cooperating? Why aren't you talking to us? What happened before these 2 vehicles followed each other, ostensibly, what we believe at this time, from the bowling alley? What happened before that? And by the way, what are you doing allowing 2 17-year-old kids out with a 26-year-old at 1:30 in the morning? There's lots of questions to be answered, but I can tell you this: we're going to do everything we can to get justice for the victims and hold the suspects accountable. I will try to take questions, but once again, we're at the 30,000-foot level. We've got detectives and crime scene working around the clock. We've got our folks and our witnesses that are cooperating with us, and we appreciate the ones that are cooperating. We need to know, why did this happen? How did it start? Who was involved? And are there any other people, innocent people, shot? As they were shooting, they were passing very nice neighborhoods, going into another congested area. There was also a little wooded area in the area of the shooting as well. Now, while all of that's occurring, our aviation unit finds a light-colored silver vehicle slinking around in the area. Winter Haven Police jumped that vehicle for us, light it up, it flees, we chase it. 2 guys jump out of the vehicle, and the car is just starting to barely roll after the 2 jump out. So, of course, they run and ultimately catch the 2 that jumped from the car. That vehicle then takes off. Unbeknownst to them, everyone didn't jump from it. 45 minutes later, we find it burned up on Avenue G on the other side of Winter Haven. Is it part of the shooting, or did we randomly catch other criminals in the act, and they were just jumping to run from us, and aviation picked them up. When we ran the track to catch the second suspect out of that car, we found a handgun along the way that he discarded. Young black males, all with guns. Is he part of the shooting? Is he part of the retaliation group? Or did they just happen to be there slinking around whenever we were able to catch while we were looking for the others? That's part of the investigation that's ongoing right now as well. Are there any questions?
So the two people that jumped out of the last car, the other suspects or victims at this point, are they in custody? Are they arrested? What's the situation?
We have them. What all they're going to be charged with is still to be seen. I mean, it's that early. But yes, we've got the two that fled from the silver vehicle that we don't, and which ultimately burned. Then we've got the silver Camry. All of them are, one's deceased, the others are in critical condition at the hospital. We've got another one that shot at Winter Haven Hospital that came out of the dark colored vehicle. So we have a great deal of information. We know who these folks are. They're from the Winter Haven and Polk County area. They're not strangers to the community. And it's just a matter of time of putting the pieces of the puzzle together, and we'll have it solved. But the community's help can make it happen sooner rather than later. But you've got to understand there were dozens. I mean, we're still counting bullet holes. There's dozens of shots fired in the MLK community.
In that specific area, how many shell casings have you found so far?
We're still counting. We don't know. There's a lot. There is a lot, as you can see from this. And there's bullet holes in and bullet holes out. They had a running gun battle.
Sheriff, any reports of altercations at the bowling alley, or you just think that that's where they started following?
We had a deputy working an off-duty detail at the bowling alley, and he called for assistance in breaking up a crowd in that area. No shots fired, no one arrested. It was just an unruly group of people that they broke up in that time frame. Were these two carfuls of people the ones that created the disturbance? Did they flee from the disturbance, or had they left just prior to the disturbance? That's questions we can't answer yet, but we know there were no shots fired and no physical fights in the parking lot, according to our off-duty deputy working that detail.
Do you know, and how many guns were recovered from the one car and then the car that was?
So far, the deceased had 2 guns. We found a gun in the back seat of that car on the floorboard, and the driver had one. So we know there's at least 4 guns there. Newsflash, you know that low-level nonviolent drug, marijuana? We got that and a lot of cash as well. So were they selling drugs earlier? Were they selling drugs at the bowling alley? You know, I get sick when people go, oh, marijuana's not dangerous. Well, the residual effects from it when everybody's got guns and they're shooting at each other, that's pretty dangerous. So what did we have last night? We had young men with guns, with marijuana, with cash, and a running gun battle ensued. And that's things that just don't happen in this community, and we're not going to allow it to happen in this community. Those young men have a right not to be hurt, and the other young men have a right not to be hurt. So whichever ones we arrest, or how many we arrest, or what we arrest them for, that's still under investigation. But it's not going to occur without without accountability in this county.
I know you mentioned the parent of the 17-year-old is not cooperating, but what about the 4 people that are in the hospital that are part of this?
Yeah, we're going to work with all of their families. We're in the process of that now. Once again, you see all the people that are shot. They're scattered out to different hospitals. We've got detectives and deputies at different hospitals. We're working a crime scene. All of that's going to come together. You'll see us mop up with another press conference tomorrow, the next day, 3 days from now, whenever we get some direction. The purpose now is for the people to take a deep breath that might have lived in the area of that running gun battle to know that, one, we pretty well know who the actors are, and two, it wasn't a random shoot at your house deal, and three, if you go outside today, you live around MLK or Buckeye Loop, see if you got any bullet holes in your car or your house any place. If you do, call us. If you have video that will see the road area, please call us. We'd love to have that video as well. Okay?
Sheriff, lastly, is it too early if it's gang related or it's just groups of friends or?
Yes, it's too early to say whether or not it's gang related, but certainly if we determine that it is, we'll let you know.
And this is completely unrelated to this investigation.
Sure.
But on a lighter note, can you talk to us about the moon pie situation?
About the moon pie situation, sure. I did a press conference back in the fall, just before Christmas. And we had another one of these events, which are, like I said, are rare. And we had an uptick in murders last year, which is unusual. Usually our murder rate is very low, but we had an uptick in murders. 4 people were killed in one horrible episode, 3 in another. So I, at the end of a press conference, said, you know, everybody needs to just chill out, eat a moon pie, drink a 7-Up, quit murdering people. Well, that went viral on everything. TikTok had 3 million views in just a day or two, and it was all over every place. Well, this wonderful lady sent us 500 moon pies, and I'm so appreciative of that. Someone sent me a moon pie embroidered shirt. Another person sent me a t-shirt that says, just chill out, quit murdering people, with a likeness of me that they're selling online someplace. So all of that went viral. So I'm grateful for the lady that sent us the moon pies. We have distributed them out to our staff and said, eat a moon pie on a wonderful lady who wanted to reinforce a quote that I said during one of our press conferences. And I'm sorry y'all weren't around. You could have had a moon pie too. So it's just amazing. So, but here's the last point. I get home that evening. My wife looks at me and she says, Grady, it's eat a moon pie and drink a RC Cola. And I said, well, I actually thought of that because I knew it's moon pie and a RC Cola, but I hadn't seen a RC Cola in so long, I didn't know if they still made it. So I knew they were making 7-Up. So if 7-Up sells a lot more 7-Up, you're welcome. Y'all take care. Have a good Sunday. See you later. Oh, by the way, we're going to allow y'all to go photograph the car. Now, understand, it's evidence. We've not served a search warrant on it, so you can't get up and photograph down in it, but we're going to let you get close enough that you don't only have to use these pictures. You may have to shoot around some blood, and that's the magic of the professionals you have there, or not if you want to run it, because, you know, kids aren't supposed to kill kids, and we got to stop it.